G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. Those of you familiar with the channel will also be familiar with the concept of dust accretion studies, whereby you can't see airflow in real life, in real time, but you can use smoke trails to get an idea of where the air is flowing. And then afterwards, you can have a look at where the dust has stuck to the aerofoil in order to determine how hard the air has been pressing against the aerofoil, and that can tell you whether the air is flowing smoothly or whether the air is turbulating, and turbulence causes drag, and drag wastes energy. Now the whole idea of this project has been to exercise my arrogant conceit that I can make something that functions better, more efficiently than this pressed sheet metal fan which came factory fitted on this Peltier device powered electric stove fan, which my son gave me for my birthday. So in previous videos we have established that this particular general purpose Warbles on a lot TLAR, that looks about right, aerofoil with a helical pitch constructed in red cedar and black oak, it flies quite well on the limited power available. On the dust accretion studies, it produced a 2mm band of dust stuck to the leading edge with otherwise a relatively smooth accretion on the high pressure surface, a little bit but not much on the low pressure surface. So it was flying pretty well, and across a yardstick it was approximately 4 times more effective than this arrangement, which came standard factory fitting. So next idea was a high lift low speed aerofoil designed by Irv Culver. He designed the aerofoil section on the Boeing 747 Jumbo of the jet. And because these blade tips are only doing 7 or 8 miles per hour flat out, I thought a low speed aerofoil might be a good idea. Low speed, high lift. And so that is what I made. But on the smoke trail airflow studies, this didn't quite push the air as far across the room, not quite as fast, and the airflow seemed to be more turbulent as judged by the smoke eddies. Still about 3.5 times better than this, but not as good as this. And the leading edge dust band was 3mm instead of 2mm, and there was an even distribution of dust on both sides. So what was happening was the air was hitting the leading edge and it was turbulating on both sides. This thing was functioning because of its helical pitch, but the aerofoil was stalled a lot of the time. This pink stringy bark and black oak with an Aboriginal Boomerang traditional aerofoil section with a sharp leading and trailing edge and an upper surface which is a tangent cut off a cylinder, and the thickest part is at 50% of the chord distance from the leading to the trailing edge. This performs over a yardstick 5 times better than the factory fitted original. So, allowing for the fact that nobody's ever claimed to have built a propeller that's any better than 93% maximum absolute theoretical efficiency, and that's a different topic, let's say perhaps because of how thin it is and how obsessively I carve the helical pitch. Let's say that this is running at 90% efficiency, absolute. And if it's at 90% and if it's running 5 times better, 5 times more effective on the same amount of current, so 5 times more efficient than that, then we can say that that's 1/5 of 90. So this is running at 18%, as efficient as a propeller can be. Whereas this, 4 times better than that, is alleged to be 72%, whereas Irv Culver's hang glider aerofoil section running as a propeller, it's only 63% efficient. And now, let's have a look at the dust accretion on this after it's run for 16 hours over the past 3 days. Well, there it is, folks. A very, very thin line on the leading edge. Come back from that 1.5 millimeters and the dust thins out. If you look at if you light the dust from the side, you can see that it is all over the thing. But as soon as you come slightly forward of that, you can see that there's a distinct line, 1.5 millimeters thick, on that leading edge. And now the upper surface of the blade is pretty much completely clean because the air is diverging right on that leading edge where the dust is impacting. Everything on this side, the air's been squeezed into the downwash, and there's a low pressure zone as everything else tries to follow the curve, but it's a very smooth and gentle curve, so there's no turbulence, so the air doesn't actually curl back on and impact the upper surface and decorate it with dust. So yeah, this is flying better than my, there we go, better than my TLAR aerofoil and a whole lot better than Irv Culver's. There you can see that hard little line there. See how it follows the leading edge rather than the lamination line? So, that will be the aerofoil that I'll stick with in future iterations of this project. As I said, when I measured it, that was 1.5 millimeters, which boils down to being 25% less thickness of dust accretion than the first attempt. And as it happens, this runs 20% better, 25%. Shifts 5 times as much air compared to 4 times as much air, compared to 3 times as much air, compared to the original in Chinesium. And as an extra special treat for all you fans of Aboriginal aeronautical engineering, look at that. We can even do that as well. Flat bottom, cylindrical, tangential, symmetrical. Thickest part of the aerofoil is at 50% of the cord. It's too thick to fly, but it's got a nice paint job. And I don't know where it was made, but I bought it on the side of the road. Whereas this flat bottom, sharp leading and edge and trailing edge, tangential, cylindrical cross boomerang is made from the first and the second cross boomerangs that I ever made, or shall we say 24 years ago. Whereas this chainsaw milled yellow box, flat bottomed, sharp edged, tangential, cylindrical, symmetrical section, is the biggest bent wooden one-piece hubless asymmetric boomerang that I've ever made. The chainsaw tooth marks on the underside. And what got me into it all, I suppose, whereas I bought that on the side of the road, there's a tourist boomerang. This is what my father came home from the coast with when he was 17 years old. In 1926, and he went to the coast to see the sea for the first time in his life. And there was him and his father and the bloke who owned the truck in the front seat, and there was two swaggies sitting on the truck bed. When they first got to the point where they could see the ocean, they stopped and pulled up for a bit of a look at it. And one of the swaggies said to the other, trying to sound knowledgeable, "All that water out there, they tell me it's all salt water." And his mate, the other swaggy, said, "Yeah, well, that stands to reason. All that water in one place, if you didn't salt it, it'd go rotten, eh? Wouldn't it?" Which is as good a commentary on old colonial vernacular Australian culture as any I can think of. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.